You're listening to Expat Radio, your worldwide friend.
Well, happy day.
Happy day? What do you mean, happy day?
It's happy day. It's like not morning. Good morning, Marc.
Morning, Mark. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dave?
I'm very well, sir. Very well. Sorry for getting you up in the middle of the night like this, but Saunders will get people up. She'll drag them up. She grabs people off the street, you know, at this time of the morning.
Here's the thing, Dave. We got to spring forward on Sunday, and you guys haven't yet. So it's actually morning here. It's not even the middle of the night.
What do you mean, spring forward? What's happened there?
What, with daylight savings? You guys don't do that until like the 31st of March, and we did it on Sunday.
Well, that must be a Trump thing. We don't have that in Europe. we haven't got that far yet. My God, we've only just got running water and gas over here.
so you don't, your time doesn't change at the end of March?
Well, it does if my clock stopped. But I mean, you know, we don't have that. We don't have the carry on that you're doing.
Well,
I mean, all sorts of weird things happen, you know. But never. I don't say, right, can you stop everything a minute? Just give us half an hour and start again. You know, none of that carry on.
Well, that's the one thing. It messes with everyone, but it is 5 a.m. here, so it's actually morning. So I don't even know what to do with myself. Like I've had an extra hour's sleep.
I told you, get a paper round. Get a paper round and a milk round. You'll be fine. Fill an hour, and then then you've done it. You're running round delivering milk, putting papers through people's letterbox and post. But mind you, in America they have a drive of about 5 miles long, don't you? So you have to they have a letterbox at the end of the drive. People go to the letterbox in the cars over there, don't they? They get in the car and drive to the end of the driveway, then get the post, and then drive back.
Yeah. Some people have those fancy driveways. I do not have one of those.
Don't you?
So we have Mr. Marc Dubois here with us today, and people call him Doobz, and I'm gonna let him tell everyone why they call him Doobz. But I met Marc through Marc Washko, who was on 2 weeks ago, and Marc is Doobz. Let's call you Doobz. Doobz is a trainer and brother and best friend, and he has an amazing story, an amazing journey about his life, and I'm inspired by it. I'm moved by it, and there's absolutely no way that he was not going to come on the radio with me. So we connected, and we've chatted, and I'm so super honored for you to be here today to share your journey with the world. And so tell us a little bit about you. And we have, about 45 minutes, and we're going to dive into your story and ask you some mindset questions and just let the world know what an amazing man you are. So tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, first off, Christine, thank you so much for having me here on the show. It's such a blessing, such a gift. But a little bit about me. I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, creating oxygen deprivation, function like a noose. And so that created a condition similar to cerebral palsy. And I spent 28 days in intensive care, touch and go. I was 4 pounds, 4 ounces, all kinds of issues that we'll, get more into. Had 18 surgeries before my 18th birthday, over 300 stitches, all kinds of injection sites, all kinds of stuff like that. And basically was told I would never walk, never talk, never function, was, quote, told to be put into a corner in a wheelchair and be forgotten about. And and then my journey has just been one of a war, of a fight. And in the last year and a half, I've really had some major opportunities to get out there to tell my story. But my biggest accomplishment to date has been doing my first men's physique competition in an able-bodied division. No special division, no special rules, no special accommodation. I just did that this past October 2018. And went in and got second place in my age division, third in novice, and then third in open through that experience. And just proving the doctors wrong, just proving the doctors wrong one step at a time. So that's the super highlight version.
That's the super speedy reel. That's awesome. So I think what's really amazing too, and I think that I've watched this probably half a dozen, if not more times, is one of our local radio or TV stations here, which is really local. It's like millions of people watch this. You were highlighted, and your journey was very, very brief moment they gave you, and I think that was like the artistry and the storytelling in that piece was amazing. And so that just aired yesterday. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about that in a smidge, but we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to give you some due diligence and some time to really dive into the story and have a conversation with me about that. So we're going to take a quick break to Boy George and Culture Club's Different Man, and we'll be right back.
Worldwide, online, the best radio station.
You're listening to Expat Radio, your worldwide friend.
Okay, technical question, Dave.
Yes.
I'm here.
Hi, Mark. So, Dave, Culture Club, yes. Boy George. Like, when you say that, was it Culture Club or Boy George or both?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, because Culture Club are the band, Boy George is Boy George.
Well,
the weird thing is, have you heard of a band called Wet Wet Wet? Have you had them out in America?
No, I have not heard of them.
No.
Right. Well, if you YouTube them, if you put in, I don't know, one of their old songs like Angel Eyes or something like that, great band, but they've gone on tour. The lead singer has left and he's gone solo, and now they've got a lead singer from another band called Liberty X, and the rest of the band, you wouldn't have a bob hope who they are behind him. Because apart from when they were originally with Marty Pello, who was the lead singer with Wet Wet Wet, nobody else knew the rest of the band. You wouldn't recognise them if they fell in front of you. So now going to see them in concert, you won't have a clue. If you sat there and somebody announced Wet 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 live on stage, and they all came out, and you go, well, that could be anyone. That could be you walking. It could be Marc in the background. Go, right, I'll go on drums, you go on keyboard, and I'll go on the triangle and wind chimes.
Oh gosh. Well, okay. Now I've been schooled on Boy George and Wet Wet Wet. Yeah. I am golden. I'm gonna look them up, Dave. Yeah. So we're back here with Doobz this morning, and This is the part of the show where I really want to give you an opportunity to share more of your story, more of your journey. It's really important for people to hear some of the mindset that you have. And so one of the things that comes to mind in listening to your story and talking to you a few times prior to this, and reading and just watching you over the last few weeks, was that whole quote of I was told I'm never going to walk. And like, what's going through your mind at the point when you're deciding, I'm just going to start lifting weights and I'm going to be a bodybuilder and compete? Like, what's going through your mind?
Well, I got into it because there was just something about it. I think it was a combination of, as a man, I want to be athletic. I also wanted to be in much better shape, but I wanted something that I could test my limits and I could push past all of my limits in a way that made sense. And so when I'm lifting, sure, that quote runs through my head all the time. It ran through my head while I was on stage for my first show. And what runs through my head is not hate. It is not anger. It is watch me. Watch me. I don't have any time for hate or anger. It's not worth it. They're unnecessary emotions most of the time. And so for me, lifting is me proving the doctors wrong. It's me saying, yeah, that guy you said would be in a wheelchair and forgotten about in a corner. Look at what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And when you first started lifting and thinking, I want to be a fit physical man, did you think, I'm going to compete, or was that something that came later?
It had always been in the back of my mind, but it really took on weight in the last 2 years or so, and definitely once we got to about July of 2017, which is when I met my beloved brother, Coach Marc and that brotherhood began, and off we went toward the show. Once I was under his care for training, we started to see amazing results real quick. Started to see neurological breakthrough, and it became it became something that went from I'll do this eventually to let's do this now.
Right. Yeah. You know, you've talked a lot in the last few days, a lot around this, specific television program, but in general about these people in your life, your brother coaches, and you've got Marc Washko and you've got Dakota Lane. Tell me what it means to have those two men in your life.
To explain that, I need to back up a step. 2013 to 2016, out of the craziness of my life, 2013 to 2016 was by far the hardest season. I went through a radical job loss, career change, a lot of just old stuff from my past surfaced, and I struggled with a severe depression, and no word of a lie, there was some suicidal ideation in there at one point. Just everything I had worked for 20 years collapsed. It just felt like every time I would get closer to something, it would fall away. And that's where Marc came in, especially. I knew that I needed to get deeper into the gym, that it would help me kind of get my stuff together. I reached out to him, and he sent me a letter, which I have up on my wall here, and then an autograph. And what he said on the back of it just triggered a wake-up call. It let me know that I had at least somebody out there who was going to stand with me and going to walk with me. So having him in my life, as well as my other brother Dakota, it means the world, because I always tell people I'm as strong as the guys that are next to me. So they just keep me moving. They make sure that I know that I'm loved and I'm cared for, and that it's all uphill. It's all upward climb to the mountaintop. So. Yeah, they mean the world. They mean the world to me. There's not enough that I can say about either of them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know Marc and Dakota and I just actually started talking a few days ago, so I'm excited to get to know him too. But they both seem like fantastic gentlemen. Was there ever a time you wanted to give up?
Actually, yep. That same season that I'm describing. There were some definite points that I really wanted to give up. I mean, like give up, throw in the towel, call life done, and move on. And like I've said to you before, the master key to me not doing that is unconditional love. It's having people come along and say, you don't get to do that. Grab me by the back of the shirt, pick me up, stand me up, or to put it another way, sit there with me while I cry and, give me a hug until I'm ready to walk again. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment, like, is there something like you're telling yourself? I know, you talked a little bit about this in your television interview, and you said words, are powerful, and words like can't and quit and limits, they're not in your vocabulary. Like, at what point did you say these words are holding me back and they're having limiting factors on my life? Like, how did that come about?
Can't and quit, that comes from childhood. Those are two words in my family you do not use. There is always try again. There's always do it a different way, but there's never can't or quit. As far as limit is a more recent one, I'd say in the last year, that really came up because I had discovered just another layer of, wow, there's these thoughts in my head that are holding me back, and that has to go. So that belief in the power of words has always been with me. As the quote says, thoughts become things. And I didn't want to leave any room for a can't or a quit or a limit to take on weight,
So we all do that. I do that too. And I even, wrote an article about the power of words and how they are so ingrained in us. And it's almost like habitual. And I think, how did you get rid of them? I mean, I know I'm not perfect. I still say words that I shouldn't be saying. How do you get rid of them? Honestly, constantly just being vigilant, not in a, obsessive way or whatever, but constantly keeping an eye on my thoughts. And if they turn sour or dark or turn south, if you will, saying, whoop, step back, do what you got to do, clear your head. A lot of it is just learning to master your own mind. And when those thoughts appear, being gentle on yourself, saying, okay, I had a can't, I had a quit. Like, let's not do that again. And then just choosing to turn your thoughts toward the positive, Yeah.
So.
Very, very nice. So what's the scariest part of competing in a men's bodybuilding championship?
Honestly, when I got on stage, like, I wasn't scared. On a scale of 1 to 10, I had a little bit of butterflies, maybe a level 4 right before I got on stage for the first time. It fell away in maybe 10 seconds, and I was alive. I was so full of life and in my element. But the scariest part, honestly, was because I was barefoot and we hadn't seen the venue yet until that morning. I was just like, don't let me trip. Don't let me trip. Please don't let me trip. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I can imagine that would be a little fearful, and, you know, being on stage with a lot of people and you know, having to go out there and show, like, you know, for me, you know, with, you know, society and social media, it's a body image thing, and and you look fantastic, so you didn't have that problem, but I wondered if that, you know, had anything to do with it.
Honestly, no, because, again, having my amazing brother coaches there, especially Marc, they made sure that the experience was about me getting on stage and doing my best and not a lot of comparison. We didn't even talk, Marc and I didn't even really talk about winning anything until the night before. And it was like, if that happens, awesome. If it doesn't, you've already won in my eyes, was something that he had said.
That's awesome.
And, you know, and it helps. Any kind of doubts or fears when you're on stage really help fall away when you can hear Marc in your left ear, like, shouting his head off and just, you know, and feeling that love and hearing his cues and stuff like that. So it really felt like he was standing right next to me, which made sure that the experience was nothing but positive. So I love him.
That's
so
amazing.
I can't say enough.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, you know, I can see that you two are very, very close, and you are brothers, and that's awesome. So we need to take a quick break, and when we come back, I have a lot of other questions. And so let's take a listen to Gary Barlow, Elton John, Face to Face, and we'll be right back. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I want to learn a mouth organ. I'm going to find a mouth organ and start playing it. I don't know what it is. But I've got this. I don't know why people have got this thing about wanting to play one, but I've found it. I've got this thing about wanting to the need to want to learn to play it.
Now I need to go look up what a is.
Yeah,
seriously, pal. Yeah. If we can start, we'll start a mouth organ group. If you can play one as well, we'll get Saunders on the spoons. We just need someone that can play wind chimes and a triangle, and we're laughing. Seriously.
Yes. Perfect band.
I haven't seen a group yet that's got 2 or 3 mouth organ players. Is there? Hey, you might have a load of guitarists on stage.
I don't even know what a mouth organ is.
You do. You harmonica.
Oh.
See, that's another problem.
Okay, we got it now.
See, now you're worried. I get why you were worrying before, because I thought you were thinking we're going down the wrong road here, aren't you?
Well, anyway, we digress into this amazing morning. So I wanted to offer for people, if they had any questions for Doobz, to email us, and I think I have the email right. Dave, correct me, but expatradio.fr@gmail.com.
Round of applause for the girl. Right? Just let me... Thank God for that. That every time somebody gives out the email, it goes to somewhere like China or Kazakhstan or Azerbaijan. I've got people messaging me back saying, why have I got an email coming through to me here? It's for you, this. And then it's like 3 weeks late.
Yeah. So if people have questions, I actually got the email address right today. Hallelujah. Amen. And then just to tell everyone to check out our new webpage, expatradio.uk. Fantastic. It's awesome. They're putting it together. It's really, really great. So thank you to everyone who's putting that together. And we're back with Doobz, and I have some serious questions. So Doobz, let's talk superheroes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So all over your Facebook page, all over your Instagram page, all over Washco's page is superheroes. And tell me about this superhero deal.
Honestly, like, I've always loved, like, the Marvel universe, the DC universe, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. The superhero thing, it sort of became part of the tapestry of my story. There's a team around me that I call Team Doobz. You know, And each person on the team, it just sort of happened. Each person on the team has a superhero moniker. So I'm Captain America, Marc is Wolverine, Dakota is Hulk. And it just, for me, the superheroes are, they're fun, but they also they also just highlight the best in what human beings can do. You know, Captain America has his virtue and Hulk has his strength, and Wolverine has his tenacity and his loyalty. So stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I was always curious how that kind of came about. I love to see it. You know, you guys reference it quite a bit, and I know when you went and visited, that was a big deal. Some comics got exchanged, some tears were shed.
I'm just visualizing it. You'd look quality as Superwoman, wouldn't you? Wonder Woman, not Superwoman, Wonder Woman. Remember the program Wonder Woman? You wouldn't be far off that, Saunders, would you? You'd look great in that outfit. Blue pair of knickers and the stars and stripes on your top. That'd be quality.
Well, I thank you, Dave. I appreciate that compliment. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how did you get the name Doobz? What's that story?
Well, when I was in grad school, I was just giving a presentation to a crowd, and my last name is Dubois, and just about anybody struggles to pronounce it. You know, it loses the French inflection, all this kind of stuff. And anyway, so people have been massacring my name for years. While I was giving this presentation, this chant started, no word of a lie, just started quietly in a corner and it spread, and people just started going, Doobz, Doobz, Doobz. And literally by the end of the day, that was my name for the rest of time. And I took it because for me, in some ways I love my name, don't get me wrong, but Doobz is who I'm becoming. Doobz is the 2.0 version. You know what I mean? So that's how I got it, and it just has stuck. And so everybody knows me as Doobz. I have friends that forget I have an actual name.
Well, I'm just getting to that point of just calling you Doobz. So I might just go for the whole Marc. I mean Doobz. I mean Marc. So that's really, really fun. And so here's a pretty serious question. What's the difference between bravery and courage?
Courage is an attitude of the heart. Courage literally means strength of heart. There's a quiet courage that you can carry that people may not see, but it's your own strength. It's your own moving forward. Bravery is what you show to others. It's doing something that may be scary for the sake of someone else. So I can be courageous just going to work this morning, you know, knowing I'm facing whatever I'm facing, and no one needs to know. But bravery could look like, oh, well, let me reach out to that person who's having a hard time that I don't know, you know. So
that's awesome. What scares you the most, Doobz?
Two things. Not living up to my full potential. I was 3 seconds away from death at birth, and with that in the back of my mind, you know, I'll be damned if I don't live up to my full potential, if I don't break through every limit and just reach for the stars. Secondly, it would be a fear of not being who I'm fully supposed to be, you know, like fully sharing my story, fully revealing who I am to the world. Yeah.
And what does that look like? Do you have a path for that, or are you just now discovering that?
Well, people have been telling me for a long, long time that I needed to tell my story. And it's only been in the last year and a half that I've felt ready, especially in the last maybe 6 months. You know, through our mutual friend there. And I actually promised him when I was visiting last, I made him a promise that I would share my story more. So, and I always keep my word, especially to him. And so, yeah, the path for that is the business that I just started, Doobz Fit LLC. It's one part fitness, and then the other side is telling my story, inspiration, motivation. So that's the path for it.
Yeah. You know, what does telling your story do for you and for other people? What does that do?
What it does to other people, I've had people react in all kinds of ways. I mean, from being inspired to facing their own demons to everything in between. So what it exactly does to people, I don't know, because I live inside my story. So I'm watching it go out, and I'm watching these marvelous things happen, looking at it going, what did I say? But what it does to me is it reminds me again and again and again that I'm on this planet with a purpose. That I'm here to do some good for as many people as I can. And it just reminds me that remember what you've been through. Do not settle. Do not step back. Don't take it easy. Keep pushing.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. I have that. My whole idea around having the show is, everyone has a story and everyone's story matters. And so, listening to you and watching you, I've definitely been inspired. And I think what comes up for me in hearing your story and talking to you is we all have not so great days, and we can give up, and we could, like just yesterday, I came home from work. It was a very long day. I still had my workout to do, and I was like, I don't really want to work out. And I was kind of like, what would Doobz say if I told him I really didn't want to work out? And so I was like, I got my clothes on, I went down and I worked out. So so those are the kinds of things, like, people hear, like, real world problems aren't really real world problems if you think about it that way. Like, you have the story of a hero, in my opinion, and so I think that your inspiration could definitely take people a long way. And I want to take a quick break, and we'll come back. I'm going to talk about this new, Doobz Fit LLC. So let's listen to Boyzone, Love is a Hurricane, and we'll be right back to do that. Boyzone sounds like a fantastic place to be.
Hello.
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 Oh my gosh. Boyzone, that's an interesting band. I've never heard of them, but I liked them. That was a really cool
song.
song.
You never heard of them? They're as old as me and you. Them. They were before Westlife kicked off in Ireland. When back in the early 90s, they were all boy bands. There was Westlife, Boyzone, and Take That. And then at some point they've all merged. But one of the lads out of Boyzone, he died, bless him. But at some point they've all recorded together. They've merged and done like a supergroup as well, a bit like New Kids on the Block. And what was the other one that got together with them? Can't remember.
In Sync.
Yeah, them. Inu.
Yeah. Superboy band, Superboy Zone.
I used to think it was called It Stinks, but I could never get it right. Every time I announced it, it was this is a brand new single from It Stinks. Didn't go down well.
Oh, Dave. Oh my gosh, I'm here with Marc Dubois today, and we've been hearing his amazing story and journey of triumph and winning awards in bodybuilding. And I am so interested to hear about this Doobz Fit LLC. And as I was listening to that song, and I was just reflecting a little bit back about our conversation, and I think what's important for people to hear from you, if you can tell us a little bit about, before we jump into the Doobz Fit, when people feel like they are stuck or have a setback, I know I've had those. And how do you work through that? What's your step by step, if you have one?
Honestly, step by step. When something happens, a setback, whatever, minor or major, take a minute, feel it, kind of embrace it. This is where I am. This is what's happened. We spend so much time denying that something's gone wrong. As it says, it's okay to not be okay. Right. And then second, for me, and people are different, but everybody needs somebody in their life to lean on, whether it's one person or 10 people. And so reach out to those people and talk it out, cry it out, laugh it out, do what you got to do to move past it. And then third, step back and say, okay, where are we going from here? Chart a new course, make a new plan, and go after it.
Yeah, like goal setting. That's awesome. So goal setting, moving forward. Tell me about this Doobz Fit LLC, because that's very new. You just got this certification weeks ago. So what made you want to do that? Well,
for me, the power in fitness is not changing the way you look is awesome. And don't get me wrong, I love looking amazing on stage and being shredded. And I love physical fitness and feeling and looking my best. But the deeper power in it for me is the way that it changes minds and hearts. For me, this whole journey to the stage was a rebirth or resurrection, rising out of the shadows, if you will. And I want to give that to other people. I want to not only change bodies, but help them embrace a new mindset and a new heart. So and this has been in the works probably for about a year. Those closest to me know that I've been talking about it. And I've been quietly putting it together, in time for the cert to be finished.
That's so fantastic. So what are your plans with this? Is it like an in-person, online? For those of y'all who don't know, Doobz and I probably live about 50 miles apart from each other, so we're very close. Right. Which, hasn't happened very often on this show. So it's really cool to have a local Colorado dude. Yep. So is this going to be like in the gym or online or all the above?
It's all the above. Online personal training. I'm actually coordinating with a local gym to be brought in as a subcontractor. More on that later as things get finalized. But I'll have access to a local gym as well to train on site. Basically, as well as all the inspirational stuff. I'm working on an ebook that I hope to put out later this year. Just kind of the broad arc of the story that I'm telling you. Yep.
That's going to be so inspiring for so many people. How can people find you and get a hold of you and connect with you?
Okay. I'll just start from the top. Email-wise, doobzfit, DOOBZFITT @gmail.com. Instagram, also by the same name, doobzfit, 2 T's. My Facebook is my given name, Marc with a C, middle name, Doobz in this case, DOOBZ. And I should pop right up. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of me at this point.
That's awesome. So, being on the radio, and you and I have talked about music and those sorts of things before, and how the power of music really is something. And we've talked songs, we've talked music. What does music mean to you?
Music, it's an expression of the language of the heart, honestly. One of my favorite songs in this whole journey has been This Is Me off of the Greatest Showman soundtrack. If you read the lyrics, it might as well have been written for me. But and that anthem was in the background the entire time. And what it did is it gave expression to that warrior heart, that warrior desire, that desire to prove the doctors wrong, just in a beautiful artistic way.
Talk about that warrior heart. What does that mean?
One of the highest compliments I was ever given by anybody, but it came from Marc. He called me a forever lion. My name actually means one who fights until he wins, or a warrior who fights to victory. And the warrior heart for me, it's not aggression, it's not bravado, it's not ego. It's just an attitude that says no matter what comes at me, I will hold my ground. And if I have to take a step back, so be it. But I'm still going to win the fight.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I wish that I wish we were on TV so I could show people this drawing that someone did for you and Marc after you had won your competition. And you guys were hugging and celebrating, and somebody captured this picture, and then
my brother did. Yep.
Yes, and then someone, I don't know the artist, so you can tell me about the artist, drew this moment, and then put a lion and a wolf, if I'm right.
Right.
And it's just fantastic. They'll have to go to your Facebook page just to see it. It's like, who's this artist?
His name is Reed Olson. I actually connected with him through Marc, and I just reached out to him because that painting actually symbolizes a lot of the bond that Marc and I share. But he and I both we just call that moment that the moment is called the hug, and it's just this moment that defies description. And for me, it was a moment where all my old crap just fell away. to put it simply. That's the moment that I kind of rose to my potential, because I had just finished the show. I had just done what many would say was impossible, and it reset my worldview. And so the artist is Reed Olson, and you can find him on Facebook. He does amazing work.
Yeah, you guys will have to go to his page and go to Doobz' page and see this art. It's pretty fantastic. And talking about this bond really quick, and I know we're kind of running a little short on time, but this bond that you and Marc have, you both have had major life challenges, let's just put it that way.
True.
And I know how Marc feels about you, and I know how you feel about him. And do you feel like you reaching out and connecting with him was luck, or do you think it was like a little divine appointment, as I like to call them?
I would call it a little bit of divine appointment. What are the odds that he would have accepted my request on Facebook? What are the odds that he would have written me back? What are the odds he would have said what he said? I won't call it fate, but I won't call it chance either. And so I would say that our paths were meant to intersect at that moment and create one of those once in a lifetime kind of brotherhoods. So.
Yeah. We are kind of pretty much out of time, and I want to just express my gratitude and my honor of having you on today. It has been an amazing time getting to know you. I feel like we, have this friendship that I cherish very, very much. And Dave, thank you for having us on today as well. And, again, tell everyone where they can find you, and then we'll go out with a final song.
So I can be found at Doobz Fit on Instagram, my given name, Marc Doobz Dubois on Facebook, and doobzfit@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Dave, thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure.
We're gonna go out to This Is Me, your song.
Yay.
So have a fantastic day, everyone. Thank you,
and you guys,
for listening.
Great show.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Adios. Have a great week.
Bye.